It would be cheaper in this case for the buyer to start a new LLC so that the seller doesn't know who it is, and then have our client assign the deal to the other guy's LLC for like $1 than it would to actually double close. If the main goal is to hide the identity of the buyer who's already in negotiations with the seller and they have a sour relationship, and that buyer has already put money into the deal and they need, like in this case, to the tune of 100K, and they still need to close on the property, then our client who has it under contract, interestingly, crazy story, can then assign it rather than double close. Double close hides the identity, but so does creating a new $400 LLC and assigning it, right? And then it's a single
Right.
close.
Yeah.
And then they don't pay closing costs twice, and then they don't pay title insurance twice because this title company's a bunch of fun people.
Hey, Caleb,
Yeah.
on that, would they assign it or could they sell it? Sell the new LLC? With that being the only property in it, and just sell it to the new person, and it wouldn't be a double close, right?
Right, but the wholesaler has an existing business around doing assignments, so
Oh,
it wouldn't make sense to sell that one in this case.
okay.
It's like a wholesaling LLC rather than a single purpose property LLC. And at this point, since neither of the assigner, assignee, wholesaler groups own it yet, it's easier to get it straight before the paperwork is finalized. Can anybody counter that? I'm not like looking for challenges so I can fight. I'm not saying fight me. I'm just saying, is there any flaws in my logic? Are there any good questions we should be asking before we choose this as a course of action?
Getting the new LLC is the cheapest way.
Absolutely
Sounds
the
right.
cheapest. It sounds faster too. It's cheaper by to the tune of $4 or $5 grand.
How does that work?
That, young Padawan, is a very long answer.
I mean, you wanted me to ask questions, so I was like, okay, that is an
I do.
interesting concept.
So LLCs are cheap to start. Limited liability company. You can start one, depends on the state, but you can start one for like $60 or $400 or somewhere in between there. Depends on the state. In this case, the seller is a dirty workaround person trying to get one over on people. They were under contract with somebody else who already put a bunch of money into that property. So they know each other. And this person thinks, the seller thinks they've got over on this person. Then our client comes in and gets the house under contract and then finds out about this whole mess over here between these two. And our client's like, not our problem. We can still close on it, right? They end up having conversations with the party who's being messed with, and they determine the best course of action, because they were going to pull out. Our client was just going to pull out at one point and just quit. But they realized together through their conversations that this person could still buy it because they've already spent $100,000 on the deal, and that they're gonna lose all of that unless they do something to save it, because this is a fraudster. So the only trick to fixing that is to let the seller sell to our client, who has graciously agreed to assign it back to or resell it to the person being defrauded for like $1. However, the title company wanted to force us to double close. $500 for the intermediate closing. That's not bad. But they also insist on a $1,500 title insurance policy, even for this first leg of a 2-leg transaction. So closing costs are $2 grand on the front side, and they're probably a little bit more expensive on the second side of a double close. Maybe not. I don't know. But they're going to buy title insurance twice. So they would buy title insurance to do the first close from the seller to our client, who then resells immediately to the next guy for no markup. So there's like 4 or 5 grand worth of closing costs right here just to change hands twice. Now the seller knows the other guy's LLC. So what if we just swap LLCs, start a new LLC, and then our person assigns the contract so A sells directly to C in a single closing, so they pay closing costs one time. Oh, it's not 4 to 5 grand cheaper, it's 2 to 3 grand cheaper. My mistake. Because the total cost would be 5 grand for the double close, the total cost is going to be 2 to 3 grand for a single close. So then we assign it to number 2, a different LLC, so that the seller still thinks they got over on this guy, but this guy just shows the other side and she sells to him and she's none the wiser.
Just another side of the coin.
Yep.
Okay.
Dang, that's messed up.
Ingenious.
That's messed up.
Nice workaround though.
There's a paperwork dance around any problem we find.
Mhm.
I'll code you on that.
I quoted myself. It's on our website.
Yeah, I know. You just mentioned that like a few hours ago.
I'll quote me all day.